My wife asked me to open our marriage after she had an affair with her boss, but she regretted everything when I agreed and moved on. I had been married to Laura for 10 happy years. Our relationship felt perfect. We met in college and believed we had something unique and special. We were each other's firsts in everything, from our first date to the first night we spent together. It was a love that seemed destined to last forever until things began to change. A year ago, Laura decided to switch careers and started a new job. With this new job came new colleagues and friends who had very open views on relationships and intimacy. Every day when she came home, Laura would tell me new stories about her coworkers. I began to worry because many of these stories involved intimacy or infidelity, sometimes both. However, I was also happy because she seemed genuinely excited about her new job. She started going out more, often attending late-night parties on the weekends. This, however, began creating distance between us. Every week, we talked less and less while she went out more frequently. Some nights, she wouldn't return until 4 in the morning, exhausted, and would go straight to bed without saying a word. The next day, I would see guilt on her face, as if she knew she had done something wrong, but she never shared what it was. Worried about the direction our relationship was heading, I decided to have an open conversation with her. I told Laura that I didn't want to limit her freedom and was glad she was having new experiences, but her behavior was clearly straining our marriage, and the path we were on wasn't healthy. After a brief silence, Laura said something that haunted me for a long time. She wanted to try an open marriage. Before I could object, she asked me to hear her out. She explained that many of her new friends were in open relationships, and they told her it was healthier than people think. She then admitted that, since I had been her first boyfriend, she missed out on the typical college experience. She wanted to make up for that by exploring new interests freely through an open marriage. By the time she finished talking, my head was spinning, and I could barely focus on her words. I knew that her new friends had influenced her, but I never imagined it would go this far. The idea of my sweet Laura wanting to be with other men made me feel sick. Just thinking about being with another woman myself was unbearable. I told her I wasn't comfortable with an open marriage, but she kept insisting that we were living restricted lives. I even suggested going to couples therapy to work on our relationship, but nothing seemed to convince her. Exhausted, I reluctantly agreed to her idea, just to end the conversation before I lost my temper. We agreed on a few rules, such as not bringing partners into our home, but I don't remember much else from that night. What I do remember is waking up the next day and hearing her say, "I'm going on a date." It was as painful as I had feared. That week was a nightmare. I had to watch as Laura dressed up for other men and went on multiple one-night stands. She would come home and try to tell me about her encounters, but hearing even one word made me want to walk out of the room. Eventually, I discovered through her social media that she had started an emotional affair with her manager. He wasn't young or attractive, but it still hurt deeply. In an attempt to cope, I tried going on dates with other women, hoping it would make me feel better. But every time I looked at someone else, it felt like I was betraying the love I had protected for over 10 years. Even though that love no longer existed, the guilt was overwhelming. I reached my breaking point and decided to stop trying to make it work. Instead, I chose to focus on myself and move forward with my life. When I finally gave up trying to save my marriage with Laura, I decided it was time to let things happen and move on. One random night, I went to a bar alone. I wasn't looking for anything specific, just a drink to clear my mind and maybe reconnect with myself. That's when I met her. She was sitting at the bar, sipping a drink and scrolling through her phone. Her name was Camila. She didn't seem like someone looking for a quick fling, and maybe that's what made me approach her. We started chatting casually about the music playing and how funny it was that we were both there alone. The conversation flowed naturally. We talked about work, dreams, and relationships, though I never mentioned Laura. Hours slipped by without us noticing. For the first time in months, I felt understood. Camila was in no rush, and she didn't judge me. The conversation was light and refreshing, something I hadn't experienced in a long time. There was no pressure, no guilt. When the bar announced it was closing, I offered her a ride to a nearby taxi stand. She smiled, and somehow, we ended up spending the night together. This time, there was no guilt. Being with Camila wasn't betrayal. It was freedom. For the first time, I allowed myself to enjoy the moment without feeling like I owed anything to anyone. Laura's shadow wasn't looming over me. I felt at peace with it. Laura found out. I don't know how, but she did. Maybe I was more distant, more relaxed, and that triggered something in her. When she saw me return home without any sign of regret, she began to pay more attention. One night, as I sat on the couch scrolling through my phone, she confronted me. "Who did you go out with?" she asked, almost sneering. I could have lied. I could have avoided the confrontation, but I chose honesty. I told her that I had met someone, talked, and spent the night with her. The rage in Laura's eyes was almost unbelievable. This was the same woman who had spent weeks going on dates and partying with other men, and now she was jealous. "You need to stop," she said, crossing her arms. "I don't like this." It felt surreal. The same person who had convinced me to open our marriage, who had slept with her boss and several others, was now upset that I had moved on. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my cool. "Seriously, Laura? After everything you've done, now you want to set limits on me?" I asked, incredulous. "It's not the same," she snapped angrily. "I just wanted to explore, to understand what I missed. But you didn't need to do this." That was the last straw. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was playing the victim, acting like the only reason I had been with someone else was to hurt her. "Oh, so what you did was exploring, but what I did is unforgivable." I shot back, feeling the anger rise in me. "What about me? Didn't we destroy anything the moment you started seeing other men? You wanted freedom only for yourself, right?" Laura started crying, but I didn't feel sorry for her. For months, I had swallowed my pain while she did exactly what she was now accusing me of doing. "You can't open a marriage and then try to take it all back just because you don't like how it turned out," I said. "You forced me to accept something I never wanted, and now that I'm fine without you, you want to change the rules?" She screamed that she still loved me and begged for us to stop everything and go back to how things were. But I wasn't the same man anymore. The person who endured everything just to avoid conflict was gone. "I can't go back," I said firmly. "You opened this door, Laura. I walked through it. Now you'll have to deal with that." She reached out to touch me, but I stepped away. Laura never thought I'd go this far. Maybe she believed I'd always stay in her shadow, waiting for the day she'd decide I was enough again. But that version of me no longer existed. This time, she was the one left desperate. That argument with Laura was the breaking point. Her hypocrisy left me speechless. After everything she had put me through, forcing me into an open marriage I never wanted, she now expected me to stop just because I was finally moving on. It was absurd. It was clear to me that there was no going back. Our marriage was over, even if I hadn't spoken the words yet. The next morning, I woke up early, made coffee, and sat at the table, certain of my decision. I needed to end that toxic cycle once and for all. When Laura woke up, she looked nervous, as if she knew what I was about to say. Before she could say anything, I went straight to the point. "It's over, Laura. I want a divorce." She froze. For a few moments, she tried to hold it together, but then she started crying, begging me to reconsider. "Please don't do this. We could try again. I know I made mistakes, but we don't have to end like this." I looked at her calmly, but I was resolute. For months, I had been fighting alone for something that required both of us. I had done everything I could. Now it was time to walk away. "I spent too long trying to save what you chose to destroy, Laura. It's too late now." I packed my things and left without looking back. I didn't have a specific plan, but I knew I couldn't stay. On the way out, I messaged Camila, telling her what had happened and that I needed to talk to someone. She replied quickly, asking me to meet her at the cafe where we used to hang out. I agreed. When I arrived, she greeted me with that warm smile of hers, the kind that felt like a balm for my soul. We sat down, and I told her everything. Camila listened patiently, without interrupting or judging. When I finished, she placed her hand over mine and said, "You did what you had to do. Sometimes moving on is the only choice." That conversation was the first time in months that I felt truly at peace. With Camila, I didn't have to pretend or carry the weight of someone else's expectations. Over the following weeks, we kept meeting. What started as casual get-togethers turned into something deeper. The connection between us grew naturally. Camila was everything I didn't know I needed. No mind games, no pressure, just acceptance. Being with her reminded me of the joy in life's small moments, like taking a walk in the park or cooking dinner together. It wasn't just a distraction from the pain. It was the beginning of something real. Meanwhile, I started hearing things about Laura. Friends mentioned that she had lost her job, but at first, I didn't give it much thought. It seemed like a natural consequence of the choices she had made. I was focused on building a new life with Camila, who made me feel more alive than I had in years. Months later, out of the blue, I received a message from Laura asking to meet. Something about her tone seemed off, and despite my reservations, I agreed. Part of me wanted closure, and I was curious to see what she wanted. When we met, I barely recognized her. The confident, self-assured woman I once knew looked broken and lost. Then she dropped the bombshell. I'm pregnant with my ex-boss's baby. Her words hit me like a slap, though not in the way she expected. I felt nothing. No pain, no anger, just indifference. Laura tried to explain, saying things had gotten out of control, and now she needed me. I know I messed up, but I need someone by my side. I want us to try again, she said, her voice cracking. It was surreal. After all the pain she had caused, she now expected me to clean up the mess she had made. I stared at her, calm but firm. I fought for us, Laura. I was the one who stayed and tried to make it work, but you threw it all away. Now, you'll have to ask the father of your child to do the same. Her expression shifted. It was as if, in that moment, she realized what she had lost. I stood up, placed a few bills on the table, and walked away. That was the last time we saw each other. The chapter with Laura was officially closed. Today, my life is nothing like it was before. Camila and I have built something real, something strong. Our relationship grew slowly, with trust and mutual respect. There are no regrets, no lingering doubts, only a sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. Together, we enjoy life's simplicity and appreciate the present without the weight of the past dragging us down. Sometimes I think back to everything that happened with Laura, not with bitterness, but with the certainty that I made the right choice. She made her choices, and now she lives with the consequences. I, on the other hand, found happiness and freedom in a way I never thought possible. The past is behind me now. There are no regrets, only gratitude for the life I have today and for the love I've found with someone who truly values me. Years have passed since that final meeting with Laura. Life moved on in ways I could have never predicted, and now, looking back, everything feels distant, like it belongs to an old version of myself that no longer exists. I don't feel anger or regret, just a quiet peace, knowing I made the right choices. Camila and I have stayed together, and our relationship has only grown stronger over time. She didn't just help me find myself after everything I went through. She also showed me what real love looks like. A love built on trust, respect, and the freedom to be who we are without fear or judgment. Our connection is genuine, light, and grounded, the kind of love I never knew I could have. We've built a life together, turning simple routines into meaningful moments. A quiet Sunday afternoon, making dinner feels more fulfilling than any party or late night I lived through with Laura. There are no grand promises or dramatic declarations, just the daily choice to stand by each other. With Camila, there are no games or empty fantasies, only the peace of knowing I am exactly where I belong. Laura never reached out again. I've heard from old friends that she moved to another city after the baby was born. She disappeared from social media, and no one knows much about what happened with the child's father. Maybe he did what I did, walked away when he realized there was nothing left to fight for. I don't know, and honestly, I don't care. Laura is part of a chapter in my life that has ended and doesn't need to be reopened. My life today is calm. Camila and I have built something solid, free from the shadows of the past. Together, we opened a small cafe in the city center. It started as a spontaneous idea, but it grew faster than we expected. Working with her every day brings me joy, not just because of the business, but because I get to share my life with someone who truly understands me. Every now and then, someone mentions Laura or what happened back then. When they do, I just smile. There is no bitterness left in me. Every wrong choice, every painful moment brought me to where I am now, and that's all that matters. If I could go back and change anything, I wouldn't. The pain taught me the value of peace, and betrayal showed me the importance of being with someone who truly appreciates me. I live without regrets now. I've learned to prioritize myself, to love myself, and to choose what's best for me. What began as a storm ended with clear, calm skies. Camila and I are walking this new path together, and every day with her is a reminder that life can still be kind, even after all the chaos. The past is closed, and the future is an open horizon, full of possibilities. As I watch the cafe bustling with customers, with Camila by my side preparing orders, I feel something I never had before: contentment. The love we share doesn't need labels or eternal promises. It's lived and nurtured each day, and that's more than enough. Today, there are no ghosts haunting me, just the certainty that I am exactly where I should be, at peace with the right person, living the life I always wanted.